So thank you everyone for joining today. Looks like we've got some folks jumping on our video. I will give you guys just a quick run through of who we are and what we do before we get our speaker set up here. If you are joining us today, that means hopefully you are a already established friend or family member of the council. If not, thank you for wanting to become a friend or family member of the council. The Council on Developmental Disabilities has been around since 1952. We're one of the oldest nonprofits here in the Louisville area. But our goal is to help empower parents and families and even individuals with intellectual disabilities. We service individuals birth through the lifespan, which is what sets us apart from everyone else, because some groups focus more on children, some focus more on adults, but we see everyone for their entire quality of life. And for some of those, that looks a little bit difficult. So that's where we have asked our guests today to come on and help us kind of in some of those early stages of navigating this difficult road of taking care of someone that is medically fragile or has a special need. So again, I will introduce myself. My name is Sarah Beth McCready. I'm with the Council on Developmental Disabilities. And today we have joining us Ms. Tyialynn Scott with Critically Loved. And she's going to give us some information about what her journey looked like, how she got her nonprofit started, how she kind of is working with us to become a partner and collaborator with the council. Because as you guys know, it takes a village to take care of someone with an individual or just an individual without a disability. But when you have all those other compounding issues, it does make it a little bit more difficult. So hopefully between our two agencies, we will be able to work together and help take some of that load off of you guys. So Tyialynn, I'm gonna let you share some tips and tools of the trade from your end of things. And if you guys have questions, please use the Q&A box at the bottom of your screen and you can ask questions in there. If you have a question you don't want to put in there, feel free to use the chat box and we can chat with you that way. We will probably even put a few things in the chats for you guys, so make sure if you do see that little notification pop up that you check that. And again, we have a survey at the end. We would love to hear from you all if there's certain topics that you would like to know about, or we've hit something and you'd like to go a little bit deeper. Please feel free to put that information in your survey from the follow-up, because we want to give you guys the best tools and the best information we possibly can, and we don't know how to do that if you don't communicate with us. So please let us know how to do that for you. And Ms. Tyialynn, I will let you take over and share all of this wealth of knowledge you have. We appreciate you being here today.
Thank you so much for having me. So I'm going to tell you just a little bit about Critically Loved to begin with. And we service all families with any kind of developmental, behavioral, or medical condition. And so our tagline is a little bit misleading. It's in our name, Critically Loved. You think it's just critically ill children. We do service those families, but it's also inclusive of all the other medical conditions or developmental disabilities. So we would love to help your family any way we can support you. We offer support groups at churches around the community. We have a Getting Started medical binder that helps organize your child's health care. We have counseling grants available. We have all kinds of services, all kinds of fun events. We do special needs moms nights out when it's not COVID, but since it is COVID, we're doing small gatherings like our mom's hiking picnic, and we would love to have your family join us for any of those to help connect you with other families, and then to also just provide opportunities for your family to get outside and do fun things. Excuse me. I don't have COVID, I promise. even if I did, we're at home, right? So this is socially distanced. Okay. So the way that Critically Loved got started is I have a 20-year-old daughter with life-threatening internal bleeding that she's been diagnosed with. And there just weren't supports for families like ours. And so I was trying to navigate how to get out of the network, things approved for our insurance, and how to deal with denied medical claims, and what do I do about school, because she missed so much school. So she was homeschooled. Nobody told me about 504 plans. And so we just want to help families navigate these really difficult things about practically managing your child's health care. And that's how we started. And then as we got going along, we decided to add more programming to support the family more completely. So check us out for sure on our website, or feel free to email me with questions or anything like that. So today we are going to talk about the parent experience, and it is so complex. Do y'all hear my dog? Do y'all hear my little puppy barking in the background? That's my daughter's. Can you hear that, Sarah Beth? It's pretty loud here.
Can't actually, so
Can't. Okay. So she has a new emotional support dog, and it's a little puppy, and he's a little bossy. I'm gonna just be honest. And so he's barking. Anyway, sorry if that's disturbing. So we're going to talk about the practical side of managing your child's healthcare, and then we're going to dive a little bit into the emotional side of that too, because let's just be real. It gets tiring, it gets wearing, and if you don't have tools and are intentional about refreshing yourself and having some systems in place, it will wear you out. And we don't want you parents to get to the point of burnout before you recognize, hey, I need to do something about this. And so that's what we're going to talk about today. So I'm going to do a screen share, and we're going to just walk through some steps. Let me get this pulled up really fast. I'm not great with technology, y'all, so bear with me just for a second. Hopefully this will work. We will see. Okay. So parent experience. Oh, great. Some of my things are missing. That's awesome. All my bullet points are missing. Okay, well,
like that every day. It's totally fine.
What this did say here was medical binder is really important. So if you don't have a medical binder for your child, I really suggest you get one. And we can provide that to you at no cost. And it just like completes with divider tabs on there and information that you need to keep in there, like a medical summary. Oh, there it is. Sarah Beth has it right there. So the medical binder is, you may have to talk, Sarah Beth, for it to show up on the recording. You may have to take it off mute.
So this is actually an example of one of the binders. We have several of these we keep here at the council, but Tyialynn can, you can get with her too directly. I put her website in the chat. So the forms that are in this binder, you can also get from the website. But this is actually what it looks like. It's got them here in the front. It's got information here in the middle that kind of walks you through. She was just talking about the tabs. So you've got your medical summary, the logs, the test results, and your doctor's letters. So all the templates would be in here. And then behind each section is where you can put your own examples of those things.
So another point on there was the medical summary. So I really suggest that every parent has a medical summary for their child. And this just includes their medical history, their current medications, past surgeries, things that are important that doctors know. And the reason that you need this is, number one, if you go to a new physician, it is really handy to just hand them this like synopsis. And yes, there's Epic now, which is amazing, where doctors can see like most of this shared information. Not all doctors are on Epic though. There's still ones coming on board with that. And it also is important if you're in an emergency with your child. So let's say you're out of town somewhere and you're in a car wreck, or your child falls and cuts their head, has to go get stitches. When you are in an ER, an emergency situation, you are going to forget certain things. They are not going to have time to pull up your child's medical record and do an assessment when there's an emergency. If you have that medical summary with you at all times in your purse, moms, or a small copy of dad's wallets, or you keep your medical binder in the car and you keep copies of the medical summary, for you to be able to pull that out and hand it to the doctor, or have it on your phone where you can just pull it up and show it to him. There's going to be information you forget in emergency, and all of that information is there. Their medications especially is going to be super, super important for medical personnel. So please, if you do one thing after today's webinar, please do a medical summary for your child and update it every couple of months so that all their medications are up to date. That is vitally important. I can't stress the importance of that. And then keep extra copies of it in your medical binder. And then whenever you go somewhere, you have it readily available to hand to them. New doctor, emergency, ER, any situation where you might need it. I also recommend that parents make a smaller copy of that binder. So the big binder has all your information, everything's in one place, everything about school, IEP, like all your important stuff is there. Important letters from doctors for like, if your child has a heart condition and they have to have antibiotics before going to the dentist. I'm going to use that as an example. That's important information. That kind of letters from doctors needs to be in that medical binder. You don't need everything from every hospital visit, every doctor's appointment, but the important things, please keep in there. And then a smaller binder just includes instructions for when you're gone. So this would be for sending to school and leaving it in the office at school, or taken to a friend's house if they go stay the night with a grandparent or with another friend. And these are just very important things to need to know medically. And so if your child doesn't have medical conditions that need immediate attention, you probably won't need one of these. But if they have some kind of medical condition that is important for information to be shared, please make these smaller binders. So you might need 2 of them, one for school, one for going to friends and family. And then in that, you just want to have, sorry, I'm just trying to read the chats at the same time. In that, you're going to have your instructions for your child. You're going to have your medical history, medical summary, a copy of their insurance card, and a medical consent. Super, super important that you keep your medical consent up to date. So usually those are good for 1 year. And it needs to be just general that if you are absent, basically your child can get the medical care that they need. And we have forms for these on our website. If you go to criticallylove.org and click on forms, you can just print off the medical summary, fill it out. I always suggest that you check with your local area to make sure that it's compliant with your state or with a specific facility. But we have just a general form on there that you can use, or you also need to go in there for the medical summary if you need help, like, well, how do I make a medical summary? We have templates on our website that are Word documents. You can just download it, type in the information where it goes, and print it off and save it to your computer. So super easy, and it will take you, an hour one day to get this set up for your child. And it's going to be so helpful and so important to help you start organizing your child's healthcare. The other thing I really suggest to parents is to make sure you have a case manager with your child's insurance company. And so that is speaking to one person. So I don't know how many of you all deal with denied medical claims or getting things approved out of network, and you call insurance and you're talking to somebody different every time. They're telling you different information every single time you call. It's so frustrating. So if you have a case manager, you are dealing with one person every time. And so if your child needs a medication approved, if they need a procedure approved, this person can help you to do that. And the way that you get a case manager is by calling the number on the back of your card, customer service, and ask for their case management department. And if they tell you they don't have one, which I have been told that several times, that's not true. Keep asking for different departments, ask to speak with managers. All insurance companies, Medicaid or private insurance, have case managers available, so know that. And then my second suggestion is to use them, utilize that case manager. If your case goes dormant after a while, they will shut down your case. And if that does happen, you usually, if the person's still employed at the insurance company, they usually will assign you to the same one again, which is awesome. Again, dealing with that one person. But if you have any kind of question, call them and ask them. That's what they're there for. They're there to answer any question that you have. If they call you and you keep telling them, no, I don't need you, they will just shut your case down. So utilize that resource. It is a wonderful resource to have. So medical summary, medical binder, case manager, top 3 things parents need to do for their child's healthcare. So I love this picture of my children when they were younger, hanging on the side of a cliff. I assure you there was ground beneath them, but does anybody else feel like this? Does any other parents feel like, oh, I'm just holding on and I really can't? Yeah, Sarah Beth raised her hand. Yes.
Yes.
I just can't hang on anymore and I'm just barely making it. Another good illustration that I like to use, I say a lot about myself sometimes, is that I feel like I'm drowning. I just feel like every time I come up for air, I just get pushed back down again, it's just one thing after another, after another, after another. And it is exhausting sometimes in this journey, especially when you're getting hit with one thing after another, and you're going through hard seasons with your child. So here's what I want you to know. We can all relate to this picture, right? We have all been there, special needs parents, and we know that there are times we are barely hanging on. Okay, so how can we make this journey a little bit easier to not feel like this all the time? Okay, so one thing I want you to understand is that your child's condition very well may be harder for you than what it is for them. So what do I mean by that? So as parents, we go through a grieving process of loss of plans for our child, right? So their life is going to look different than what we thought it was when they were born or we were if they were expecting them or before their adoption. Like we had this vision of what their life would look like. Okay, so now that's different, right? They have different needs, they have different abilities than what we envision them having. And that's very hard for us as parents. And so we're like, oh, we wanted them to have this great life. But you know what? They have a great life, right? So it's different than what it looks like for us, but they never had a different vision, you know, unless they had an accident in the middle of their life and it changed, you know, their developmental ability or their physical ability. So I see this a lot in that children are usually okay with who they are and who God created them to be. And sometimes we're projecting our feelings of our loss of plans for them and our grief onto them. And it's really not fair to them. And so I really want us all to take a step back and say, I'm going to celebrate who God has created this child to be and who they are, and walk with them in that joy, and to not like be projecting that onto the child. And so this came from a study that Spina Bifida brought to my attention, Association of Kentucky, and it was that they did a survey and did a study on children and adults with spina bifida, and then the parents of those children. And the children were way more okay with it than the parents were. And it's like, it was very eye-opening to me. So I want to be careful not to do this. I want us all to be careful not to do this, of projecting that grief onto our children. Let's just celebrate who they are. So that's step one. And I had this video of my daughter that I want to play that goes along with this. And so this is, keep in mind, she was 17 years old when she wrote this. And it was filmed when she was 19, but when she was 17, she wrote it for a school project. And it's about how hard her life has been, but her taking those scars, and it's made her who she is. So let's watch this real quick. Maybe, hopefully technology will work.
I struggle with multiple medical issues, the most serious being an internal bleeding condition that causes me to need blood transfusions often. To give some context to that, I've required over 50 units of blood in the last 3 years alone. However, this is just one piece of my story. I'm a young woman who truly wants to make an impact on this world. I hope to lead a life full of love, courage, and most importantly, faith. I don't ever want to let my health challenges or the rough parts of my history stop me from doing that. Some advice I'd like to give to other young girls, and something I'm still working on myself, is to remember that those broken and difficult pieces of life are still a part of your story. And those scars they leave are a map of what you have survived and conquered. I know it's really hard to have that mindset. I mean, it is for me too. But every chapter in our stories shapes us into who we are and who we will become. I'd like to end this with saying, speak life, love hard, and live victoriously.
Okay, so as parents, let's focus on who they are. That is the whole point of this of that video. I love her heart, and I love how she sees those scars as just being like part of who she is, and has made her into who she is. So the next question I want to move on to is, how does your child's condition define you? So this is hard, especially for me, because let me tell you, my life is centered around my daughter's condition. So I founded this nonprofit, and my whole professional career is about helping families with critically and chronically ill children. At home, I'm helping manage my child's health care. We have a lot of in-home treatments. We check our blood. We do infusions at home. We do lots of doctor visits, lots of trips to Cincinnati Children's Hospital, lots of therapy. There's always a lot, and so it can consume your whole world. And so I just want to be mindful, parents, that your child's condition does not define you. It does not define you. Who are you? I hope that when you answer that question, that the answer is not first question, the first answer is not special needs parent. I hope that's not it, because that's a situation that you're in that describes your child's special need, but it doesn't define who you are. And if it does, it can overwhelm you, and it can like make you be pushed down and be confined by that. Let's not let that happen. So when somebody asks you who you are, who are you? I hope it's described, I'm compassionate, I am loyal, I'm a friend, I'm a sister, I'm a mother. Yes, I'm a special needs parent, but that's just among the mix. Let's let it not be the only thing that defines who you are. And so the reason this came to my attention is because I was talking to a friend of mine, and she said, who would you be if your child was well? Oh, my dog's dreaming now. Do you hear my dog? She's dreaming. That's really funny. We're having dog interruptions today.
So that time I did hear it. That time I actually did hear that.
That's funny. So my friend asked me, who would you be if your child was made well? And I was like, oh, I don't know, because I've let it define who I am. I've let it define my job and my personal life and my home life, and even my other children, like how I interact with them, because her condition, consumes so much of my energy and my time. And so I just want us all to be mindful that whatever your child's condition is, whatever developmental disability they have, it is not the core of what defines who you are, because their condition is a big part of your life, but it's also made you who you are. You're more, you have more perseverance now, right? Like you're more educated on different abilities of children. You're more compassionate than you were before. These are all, like, we call them beauty among ashes at Critically Loved. Like, these are all great things that negativity has called these positive things, but it still doesn't, that one condition does not define you. So I just want to make sure that we are focused on that. Okay, so a really, really great place to focus on too is taking care of yourself. I love this term, take exquisite care of yourself. Exquisite. That just means like you are really paying attention to that. I love that word, exquisite, because it brings an elegant like feeling to it. So I love this acronym CARE that we've developed with Critically Loved and some of our other partners. We worked with Face It, which is a resource to end child abuse, and we developed materials for special needs children in particular. And the committee came up with this acronym, and I love this to help remember to take care of ourselves. So the first way is community, and we're gonna walk through all these. So get involved with others walking a similar path. That means get involved with a council more. See what groups they have going on. They've done some great things on self-care themselves. Please focus on this, because when you are focused on taking care of yourself, then you are a better caregiver for your child. This does not make you selfish. This does not do anything else except for make sure you are the best version of yourself so that you can be there for your child. You want to speak into that a little bit, Sarah Beth?
Yeah, so I mean, you said it perfectly. I think even as a parent of a child with special needs, and then adopting a daughter that we didn't know what her needs would look like until we're actually walking through that right now. I feel like God lays things out and they happen at a particular time. And so COVID really, I think, impacted that much more so for myself and a lot of parents of special needs individuals, through this whole pandemic issue. So we here at the council saw the need so much more to emphasize how and what that looked like, from where we had been to where all of us kind of were in that situation and being isolated and kind of getting in tune more with what our individuals were living, and some of them not even able to communicate that. So the council has joined with Christy Hankey, who is a speech therapist turned life coach, because she was going into homes and working with some of these families and seeing the need to really focus on taking the shame out of some of the guilt we were putting on ourselves and allowing others to put on us, and really focus on our own perspective and a good, healthy mindset and what that looked like. So we're doing monthly workshops with Christy that we have information on our webpage about, and we can put links in the chat so that you guys can find those events. And then we have a weekly family support group. And It's on Thursday nights at 7 o'clock. It's on Facebook, and we meet via Zoom through that as well. But, you can get on there and share your story. The very first activity that we did with that support group is to write a letter to yourself. Before your child was given a diagnosis, what did that look like for you? So this acronym is fantastic because this really does go along with what that looks like. Allowing yourself, my letter talked about grace. Like, I didn't give myself enough grace before. I didn't know what that looked like. I could freely give that to anyone else. And I, had the biggest heart to help other families go through that. But then I didn't give that to myself. I carried all of that shame and grief and remorse, and not really fully understanding what I had been given, with my child, but learning what that looks like to dissect and walk through all of that. So knowing what I know now versus what I knew then did look very different. But when you're starting out and you have these tools like this, I think that helps get your mindset in a better place, so that you can move forward, because moving forward should always be the goal.
And let me just also say, when you sign up for things like that at the council, you're not just learning from like the presenter, you're in community with those other people in that group. And so that is so important, so important. I cannot stress that enough. We at Critically Loved right now we're doing online support groups, and I had 4 leaders signed up for January, and we had this overwhelming response to people signing up for it, and we ended up with 8, because there's just so many people that really needed that support and connection with other parents. And so if COVID has done nothing else, it has provided special needs parents a virtual online community that there wasn't there before. So there might have been some people offering some online Zoom groups, but COVID has definitely kicked that into high gear. So you have no excuse, right? There's no excuse now, even if you have to be home with your child, even if you have a child who cannot be out in public or can't handle being around other groups of people, even if life is so hard where you can't get out, there's no excuse. You can still get plugged in and have great community with Zoom groups, and please plug into the council for that. So the second letter away, this is to take breaks often. So this is just those little breaks. This is, my child is driving me crazy and I need to get out of here right now. It is making sure they're in a safe place, stepping outside. It is asking your spouse, hey, please go sit with them for a few minutes so that I can get a break and regroup and refocus. It is a friend that comes over and says, hey, why don't you let me sit with your child for a minute, and why don't you go to the grocery store by yourself? It is saying, okay, I'm going to let you do that. So my encouragement here is to not take away other people's blessings by allowing them to help. If somebody offers to help you, please let them. Please let them. Because how much do we feel grateful and we want to help other people do things? We'll give other people that same opportunity. Don't steal their blessing. So the next one is rest, and this is the planned activities that you need to get away from your current life. And so this can mean time away with your spouse. It can mean having lunch with a friend. It can be going to the grocery store by yourself. This is the planned time that you need to go away. And we're going to look at each of these a little bit more, but I just want to run through them really fast. And then joy, and this is finding joy in the present moments. So it is being watchful and mindful to have a thankful spirit, so that you're focusing on the positives instead of the negatives of the day. There are positives all the way or all around you every single day. And if we're watching for those, man, that changes our mindset and it changes our heart. All right, so we talked about joining others on a similar path. I love this picture. It's of my daughter and Pat Day riding horses on our farm out in Shelby County years ago. And this is a great glimpse for me, just to remind me to never try to walk this alone. There's something about maybe the area we were raised, and I can do this myself. I don't need anybody else. Like, I'm independent. I'm a strong woman, right? I was raised an independent thinker, and our culture teaches us to be strong and independent. Y'all, we need people. We need community. We were not made to do things alone. And if you are in a friend group that there's no one of your other friends that have special needs children, please find some. Please find some. Doesn't mean you ditch your current friends. It means that you invite other people into your life and that you can share with people who understand the struggle. That is the number one feedback I get from our groups, is that the number one benefit they see is that they really appreciate meeting other parents who understand the struggle. They understand the terminology you're using. They understand fighting those denied claims and having to fight for your child to get therapy. They understand that because they have been there. There is great benefit to walking in community with other people. All right, so this page is a little crazy, and it shows my crazy life. Plan time away. So for me, it is being outside. I love kayaking. I love playing volleyball. I love hiking. I love to do things outdoors. For me, that's my getaway. And people may think I have this crazy carefree life. No, I plan it. It takes time, it takes planning, it takes effort. But once a week, I try to make it a focus that I'm going to do something I enjoy, even when my child is in the hospital. So that away piece, I kind of combined away and rest here, because they're a little bit similar, but one's in the moments, one is planning ahead. So when my daughter's in the hospital, I always pack my exercise clothes, and I've posted videos of this on our website and on our Facebook page too, and on Instagram. But I always, whenever she's taken care of, I know I can be gone for half an hour or an hour. Then I go outside and I run stairs outside. Take my headphones and I listen to music, and I lay on the bench outside and get sunshine. That is my rejuvenation. That is my time to be okay, now I can go back inside. Now I can take care of her the rest of the day and meet her needs. But if you don't take that time, I'm telling you all, it's not good. You're going to get burned out. And if you're stuck at home with your child, plan some activities outside. I know during COVID, we have to be careful. We have to be mindful of that. Not all these pictures were taken during COVID, but I'm still outside with my friends. We're still kayaking. You can be socially distant, on the water and be 6 feet apart. You can be socially distant while you're hiking. Whatever your enjoyment is, find things that you enjoy and do them. Go for a walk around your neighborhood with your dog, or just walk around the neighborhood with a neighbor. Say, call a neighbor, hey, you want to go for a walk, and stay away from them a little bit, but you can still find ways to do things that you enjoy. So I cannot emphasize this enough. Please take care of yourself. Please give yourself that time to get refreshed, because when you don't, your child suffers, your family suffers. You have the option to set the tone in your home. So I really pray that you will focus on that and do that. And you can start by saying, okay, next week, I'm going to do one thing I enjoy, plan for it, and do it. Follow through, do it. All right, the next thing is enjoy. So I really cannot stress enough, where I talked about before, of being mindful and being thankful in the moment. So we're going to watch this video real quick, and it'll give you a better idea of what I'm talking about.
We all have a preconceived notion of what de-stressing looks like. I imagine a long bubble bath in the quiet. Yes, the quiet. That blissful sound that encompasses the noise in my head and drowns it out. I slip into the tub that is just the right temperature to smooth my muscles from their tightened state. 28 honeydew-scented candles provide the only light. I find an Enya station on Pandora for the second half of the bath and quietly listen as it spills into my quiet. I stay submerged until my fingers have shriveled up and turned into prunes. I must cool off for a bit before standing, so I step out of the tub once it is halfway drained, for getting out once it's completely drained would require too much effort. After putting on my most comfortable pajamas, I go straight to bed without completing any chores, uninterrupted, and then sleep all night without waking the entire night. Doesn't this sound wonderful? I have had a few times in my life that something very close to this did indeed happen. However, this is not the norm for me, and if I expect it to be, then I will be continually disappointed. This is a better picture of my reality. I am worn out from a day spent at the hospital with Celia for an iron infusion and blood clotting treatment. My laptop accompanied me to the hospital room to squeeze in some work, but a new doctor is on call today, and he has to be brought up to speed on her condition. We wait longer than normal because there's an issue with insurance not wanting to cover the blood clotting treatment at the hospital anymore. The doctor tells us it must be given at home tonight. Since the visit is taking longer than expected, I call my mom and ask her to please pick up my 3-year-old Audrey from preschool, since I won't be there in time. This makes the third time in 2 weeks I've had to call out that favor. I finally make it home, and I'm rushing around trying to get all chores done early so I can take a long bath to end my hectic day. I thank my mom for bailing me out once again and quickly realize Audrey did not get a nap at preschool today. Dinner that consists of leftovers for the third night in a row is filled with fussing and an urgent need to get her in bed. After the fastest bath that will qualify for getting my child clean, she's rushed to her room to read a book before bed. Getting her second win, my smiling, lovable child returns, and I want to savor just a few more minutes. But I put her to bed anyway because I want my bath. I quickly help Celia finish cleaning up the kitchen without speaking, and I then rush to the bathroom and close the door. Finally, time to myself. I run the bath water and start to get out candles, but at this point, I'm really just too tired for all of that effort. I turn off all of the lights except the smallest one to at least simulate candlelight. I slip into the bath, close my eyes, only to hear loud thumping music coming down the street. My 18-year-old son DJ must be home. How many times have I told him to turn down his music before entering our neighborhood? A few seconds later, there's a knock on the bathroom door. Mom, we have to do the blood clotting treatment tonight, remember? I will get the supplies out. Let me know when you're ready. Shoot, I forgot about that. So much for going straight to bed after my bath. After only 5 minutes, I dragged my tired body out of the tub, not any more relaxed than when I got in. I go to the living room and mix the medicine that will stop Celia's internal bleeding, and I almost forgot to give it to her. Wow, I'm a great mom. I slip on the medical gloves, insert the needle into her scarred veins, and give life-saving medicine to my child. Defeated, not distressed, and exhausted, I finally just go to bed. This trap is so easy for me to fall into. If I only look forward to the big, elaborate, preconceived ideas of what it takes to lower my stress level, then I will be continually disappointed. However, if I choose instead to be present in each moment, be watchful for the blessings and thankful for them, my heart will be full and my stress level greatly diminished. Instead of putting Audrey to bed after she got her second win, I could have read a few more books with her, laughed with her, and spent a few minutes snuggling. That would lower my stress level. While cleaning the kitchen, I could have turned on some music and danced with Celia, being silly with her. That would lower my stress level. When DJ came home blasting his music, I could have chosen to pick my battles and focus on how responsible he's become and thank him for being on time coming home. Being thankful lowers my stress level. If I watch for opportunities throughout each day to be thankful, be present in the small moments, and enjoy the life that I have, then a lower stress level will accompany that. We can all use a getaway, long soak in the tub, early morning run, and time to ourselves, but don't be dependent on those alone to lower your stress level. I also have much work to do in this area, so let us work together in this. Be watchful, be thankful, and be present. We are in this together.
Okay, so the small moments, that is what I want us to focus on this be present, the small moments. We've got to shift our mindset to really think about the, I'm gonna take my screen share off. Okay, so I just want to talk to parents on this one. So please, please, please be mindful of the small moments. Be thankful, be watchful. And it's really helpful to get started on this. I read a book a long time ago. It was called 1000 Gifts. And it was just like focusing on all the gifts that you can be watchful for in a day. And the goal was to eventually write 1000 things to be thankful for. And so it really got me thinking about, okay, what are 5 things? Like every day when I go to bed, what are 5 things I can write down that I'm thankful for? And when I started to do that, and they started flowing more frequently. And then throughout the day, I was, okay, I was watching, what can I be thankful for tonight? What can I write in my journal? What can I focus on that's positive today? And that will change the tone of your home, because when you are positive, when you are thinking positive things, when you are watching for things to be thankful for, it changes your countenance. And if you're not focused on the negative, it makes you feel better. And when you feel better, that overflows and spills to everyone in your home. You parents have the option of setting the tone in your home to be positive or negative. So I'm just going to encourage you all to really focus on the positives. So those are my tips. Those are my practical 3 things that you need to get: medical binder, medical summary, case manager. Do those 3 things. And then let's focus on not letting our child's condition define us. And then let's make sure we're taking good care of ourselves. Let's do that. Community, away, rest, and be present. Enjoy. So Sarah Beth, do we have any questions or things that people want to comment on?
So if you are currently participating with us and you have any questions, again, feel free to put those in the chat. We do have a few here. The first one is when you talk about making the medical binder. One of the questions is, what do you feel is the best way to compile information as far as, I guess I'm trying to figure out how we would word this, as far as like evaluations? Which evaluations do you feel are probably the best to include? I would think psychological from my personal standpoint. Which do you suggest?
Definitely anything that's important to your child's health care. So anything that another doctor would need to see. So if like your doctor writes a letter of recommendation, any letter recommendations from your doctors need to be in that binder for sure. And then any important labs or test results, those also need to be included in there. It is a different world today with Epic, with doctors being able to pull up information. But again, in those emergency situations or where they need health care, it's really important to have those in paper, on, in person. And we just leave our medical binder in the car. And that way, whenever we are somewhere, I don't forget it, right? Because we're always usually in my car. And then if she goes on a trip or something, then I send that medical binder with her. Oh, something else I want to talk about too, and it's again on the forms I included in the chat at the very top, criticallylove.org/forms. On there is a application for professional counseling. So one thing that we do at Critically Loved is offer professional counseling for special needs children. So it's if they have any diagnosis of developmental, medical, or behavioral, and they are 18 years or younger, or under 18 years, so 17 years and under, then we can pay for therapy for them. And so it can be at a therapist of your choice, or it can be, if you need help finding one, we can provide you with some options of ones that we've worked with in the past. But if your child needs therapy or counseling that's behavioral or emotional, feel free to apply with us if there's a financial need. Maybe it's like your child needs more visits than what insurance will pay for, or maybe you have a really high deductible for your insurance, then ask us to help you out with that. Like we understand, like I understand medical bills a lot. And so if we can help families out, we definitely want to do that. So there's an application, an online application that you can use on our website to apply for that. So just make sure I mention that, so that resource is available to you.
One of the other questions that we have, and it looks like we put some information in here as well, but I'm going to answer this one live as well. Let you answer this one too, but we'll do it both ways so people can interact. But someone said, where can they find a local support group for moms? So we have put in the chat a link for the Care for the Caregiver group that the council does, and the family support group. And we can again send you some personal information. If you want to send us your info in the chat, we can do that as well. Also, I know that Tyialynn has some groups that they do as well, especially if you are looking for something more faith-based. They have Bible studies that they participate in as well. So you've got that option, and Tyialynn can tell you guys about those. I know the mom's hike is coming up too. Is that right?
It is. Yeah, it's not like we haven't promoted it yet. We're just working out the details, but yes, it'll be May 15th at Tom Sawyer Park. We'll provide lunch to the mamas, and it's just, these events are so great because it's outside, it's like away from your kiddos, and it's a way to meet other moms walking a similar road. So we're excited about the moms hike and picnic that we have coming up. And that you can watch our Facebook page or like our Facebook page, and anytime we have events coming up, or you can go to our website and register, or shoot me an email just at admin@criticallylove.org, and I can put you in our database. And then when we have events come up, you'll get an email that will automatically notify you of those.
Another way too, if you want to get involved, is that they just put up some information too. As far as the support group, I don't know if you guys can see this right here, but every Thursday at 7 is the Care for the Caregiver group. So you can go on our Facebook page. There's information about that as well. So if you guys can see that, I think that just popped up on there real quick.
Awesome.
I'm still trying to navigate some of these things, so thanks for bearing with me on that, guys.
Technology is not my friend.
Technology is different for me too. That's one thing COVID has definitely taught me is I didn't think it would be possible to build connections with people via the internet, but actually it is. So I know for some folks, they're thinking, oh, I want to join a group, but what does that look like? And some of us Zoom all day. So the last thing that we honestly want to do is Zoom after work or when the kids go to bed. But I personally can share this with you. Tyialynn and I met via the internet and, doing this thing. And then, she kind of did pop in for a face-to-face, which was so nice because I'm that old school person. I still like to hold the book when I read it. So as much as I can read on a computer screen, I still like the face-to-face. I still like the actual tangible book and stuff, So it is possible though, for those of you that are watching this and are like, oh, I don't know about that. It is possible. What you put in is what you get out. So it is very possible to make connections with people in this type of a setting. I personally teach a single moms Bible study, and I actually do connect with those folks. And some of us have not met in person, but I've built relationships with these people because I truly take time and invest into them. And as much of us, in the community of single parenting and special needs parenting, it does get difficult and you think, I don't have time to put into another person.
Right.
But I teach my kids, you have to be a friend to have a friend. And so putting in that time is so important for the health of someone else because you don't always know where someone else is, but is that much more critical, as Tyialynn shared with us, for you to do that for yourself.
And there's something too about just getting the focus off yourself. So I understand what you're saying. Like I cannot take on another friendship. I don't have any emotional energy to do that. But when you shift your focus and put it onto doing something for somebody else, it changes your perspective, right? It helps put your own life in perspective. I went and I was having a really hard week last week, and we went and did the drive-through Shine event at Spencer Christian Church, and it was so awesome. If y'all have never done a Shine event for your individuals in your life with developmental disabilities, please do those. They're so fun. They have these proms for individuals, and the family, was there because it was a drive-through event, but they do so much just to bring joy. And I volunteered at that event, and as I'm driving home, I told my best friend, I'm like, that was just what I needed. Like I was having such a bad week and was just like, I can't believe I have to work on a Friday night. I'm so glad I did. Like it was so good. And it just like refreshes your soul to do something for somebody else. And you can do things for other people wherever you're at, even if you're at home. We have volunteers with Critically Loved, and I'm sure you all have opportunities like this too, Sarah Beth, that will write notes of encouragement to the families we serve. And I send them the supplies, they write out the cards, they put a stamp on it, they stamp our Critically Loved stamp, and they put them in the mail. They've done something for somebody else, and they haven't even left their house. And so there's always opportunities to serve other nonprofits or to do something for somebody else. So it really does help you to put your own struggles in perspective when you do that.
Yeah, that was one of the questions I had next that I was going to ask you is if someone wanted to volunteer with you guys, how would they go about doing that?
Sure. They would just email volunteer@criticallyloved.org, and I can put that in the chat too. And we will line them up see where their interests are and meet with them, and then we'll see where a good place is to plug in. But all nonprofits have something that you can do. Yeah. Or if it's just doing something for somebody else, a special needs parent that could use some encouragement, just write them a card and drop it in the mail. Like that means so much to get a real card in the mail. Or a little gift card to, go get coffee or something, just something small for the families.
Yeah, absolutely. We're the council actually is we have the same partner as Tyialynn had mentioned with Face It, and so they have made these awesome little postcards. And on the back of this is a little QR code, and you can scan this QR code, and it gives you 6 tips on taking care of yourself. So if you are watching this, or you would like one, and you're watching, or you know somebody else that would like to receive one of these, both of our groups would love to send you one of these. We actually are sending these to a bunch of parents currently, and writing little notes on there with one of the schools here in town that has special needs kiddos. We realize ourselves, everyone here on staff at the council has a family member or 2 or 3 that have a diagnosis. So that's kind of what fuels our hearts and our missions to continue to help parents and caregivers. So I know if I got something like this in the mail, because I had a long week last week too. I don't know, maybe it was just the week.
It was the week.
It was just a week. You know, getting something like this would have just, you know, really shifted my focus when I, you know, was struggling to do that. And some days it's easier than others, but it is all about perspective. And of all things, Google actually inspired me to start a gratitude journal just this past year, and just going back periodically and looking to see what I had written in the beginning of that to now, really kind of opened my eyes to some things, because I always like to think I was a pretty, you know, grateful person, but you can see the shift in where your thoughts were and your patterns were at the time. So I really liked your suggestion, and that's Tyialynn. So if you guys take a thing away for yourself, start small, and just, you know, even on your phone, like we all have our phones pretty much with this all the time. There's a notepad feature on here. Put a little note in there and write those things in a notepad. You know, what you're grateful for. Voice text them. I mean, that takes even less time. But just kind of take a few minutes to see what you're grateful for and what you can kind of take away. And then that'll help kind of start conversations for other things, maybe with your individual or with your spouse, or, you know, the teenager that you feel like you want to kind of choke out some days, but you don't. So, you know, there's lots of ways to be positive, even when you feel negative.
I just want to give a disclaimer to that too. Y'all, I have not arrived in this, everything I'm talking about today. So these are all best practices, and these are things that I know in my head I should be doing, and mindsets I need to have. There are hard days. I don't accomplish any of that. So don't feel like you're failing if you're like, oh, I tried to be really positive, focus on the great things today, and I just didn't. There's many days I don't either, right? Like I just get in these really bad moods too, and life gets overwhelming, and there's, you know, so many doctor visits and so many appointments, so many hospitalizations in a row. I get like worn down too. Just don't stay there. That's my encouragement to you. And so sometimes it takes a couple of months to work through hard seasons. That's okay. I want you all to hear that. Like last spring, I went through a really hard season. My daughter was the worst she'd ever been in her life. We were constantly in the hospital. She was just not doing well. And I really got to that defeated. I was very angry about her condition and very frustrated. And you know, I've written curriculums on this. I've written 2 different Bible studies on this very topic, and still I had the head knowledge, but it just didn't move from my head to my heart. It took me a while to work through that. And it took about 6 months to really work through that and get to the other side of that anger again. And that's okay. It's okay to be in these seasons for a while. Just don't stay there. Do not stay there, and reach out to people who can help you come out of that. So like I was reaching out to my really close friends, my accountability partners, saying, this is where I'm at. Be real, let your walls down with other parents to let them know you're struggling, so they can check in on you, they can encourage you, and they can help you through that season. So that's where that community comes into play. If you don't have that community ahead of time, you're going to struggle during those really hard times. So please set that community up now. And if you're struggling now, you don't have community, it's not too late. It's not too late. Get plugged in with counsel, and they can help you provide that community that can help walk alongside you. Because honestly, special needs parents bond faster than other typical parents with typical children do, because there's that element that brings you together. And so when we do these at Critically Love, we do Bible studies. When we do these like 6-week Bible studies, week 1, there's tears in there. They're sharing, they're like opening up, because they're, oh, I finally am with somebody who understands. And so it doesn't take as long for special needs parents to connect with each other as it does other parents, it just seems like. So know that ahead of time. If you're in a hard place, get plugged in.
Great advice. I loved on your slide where you put on there the bottom little part, like it's okay to be sad, like it's okay to not be okay. And I think a lot of us have struggled. Sometimes I feel like that's a generational thing, and sometimes it's not. But it's okay to not be okay. But you don't have to be not okay alone.
Yes.
There is a whole place of folks, right here at both of these nonprofits, waiting to help you, walk through that, break that down, see what that looks like for you. We have multiple ways that you can reach out, multiple ways to volunteer. There are so many different events and activities and things that, these organizations are doing, and things that we can share as far as resources to help you all. We've got a few things coming up here soon when we launch the new website that I think will really help put some things in perspective as far as, getting through the next parts of what COVID's going to look like and folks going back to school and all of those things. So there are a lot of good things, I feel like on our end to look forward to. But it's when you take a step, take a leap, even though sometimes it feels uncomfortable, to kind of step out there and see what options are there. Maybe you don't really know how to reach out and you're a little bit nervous. That's okay too. Sometimes it's easier to email instead of making a phone call. Send us a message on social media. I think we would be fine however that looks for you, but there are people here that want to help. That's actually how I came onto the council. I was a parent completely lost and had no idea like what to do, and I felt like I actually had some resources. I just had it kind of blocked out because I was so hyper focused on what I thought I should do versus what I needed to do. So I was just all over the place. And I called the council, and the lady that answered the phone was like, "It's okay, you can breathe again." And so I've kind of taken that phrase from her, and I use that now, like, you've got a place to go, like you can breathe again, like it's okay, you can let your guard down, here's some things to help. And so here I am all these years later, offering the same advice to families. So just know that you've got options, you're not alone, and it's okay to not be okay. Just like you said, don't stay there.
Yeah, that's great advice.
We've got some info here in the chats, guys. So if you see something else or have any other questions, please let us know. Feel free to put them in the Q&A. If you have any other information, again, please put it in the survey at the end. We would love to get feedback from you guys or send you more information if you need it. I think there was one other question. It says that you have assistance for insurance, like helping with insurance claims. What does that program look like that you guys offer?
That's just advice on how to deal with it. So when my daughter was younger, I would get our explanation of benefits in the mail, and I would have one stack for denied and one stack for approved. And I knew that this is a stack I had to fight and get her the medical care she needed. So it's things like don't ever take no for the answer. The first time I tell you no, it's denied. Don't accept that. You can appeal it. And sometimes it takes 3 to 4 times appealing a claim before it can get approved. And then the other thing is get the case manager, like we talked about before. So make sure you have a case manager fighting for you on your behalf. And another thing is if your child is on medications that are expensive, they might have some cost share programs that could help pay for your insurance deductible. And so it's not even income based. It's just like if you're on this medication, then that pharmaceutical company will help you pay for that. So the way that you find that is look up the pharmaceutical company that it makes your child's medication on their website. Just type in like the pharmaceutical name, like Pfizer cost share program, whatever the name is of the company. And then it'll take you to their page and you can apply for whatever. Not all my medications have it. It's just an option to know that it's there to help with those expenses. So just some of the tips that are on our website. You can check out our website for more of those.
Awesome advice. And again, if you guys are interested in any of these binders, feel free to reach out to Critically Loved, and Tyialynn can get you one of these. We keep these on hand here at the council as well, so you can reach out to us too, and we can get one of these in your hand. But these are fantastic tools. I cannot stress how much of a humongous help that it was having. I used to call it my Bible. Like this was my son's Bible. Like everywhere we went, our binder went. Technology is a little bit, like you said, more handy, so I didn't end up having to carry as much once some of the EHR stuff came into play with the hospitals. But if you are ever in a rural county, let me just emphasize this. Having tangible information is huge, especially when it comes to medications, because the information for medications does not always show up system to system. You might have been in a situation where your individual was just discharged from a hospital 2 days beforehand, and now you're back in another situation. And so that medication's not on a MAR that already exists or something like that. And when you're in those critical moments and, life is happening and the doctors are everywhere, like, it's so easy to forget those things. So
Yeah,
the more up to date you can be and be intentional with keeping this stuff up to date, the easier it's going to be to get your kiddo or individual the quick access that they need with the most up to date information. So
absolutely.
good resource to have is that binder. So I think that was all the questions that we have. If no one else has any more, I don't see any popping up here, then again, we thank you guys so much for being here. And we will let you guys go have a fantastic rest of your day. Tyialynn, thank you so much for your help and your information.
Thank you for having me.
Critically Loved, guys, check it out. Check out their website. Check them out on social media. They're on Facebook, they're on Instagram, they're on Twitter, and they're online. So multiple ways to check them out. Volunteer, see what they have going on. And as usual, if you need assistance with anything or you still are not sure where to navigate on your road, that's what the council's for. We can help point you guys in the right direction and help connect you with other programs like this that are fantastic and are great for our community. So thank you again, and we hope you guys have a wonderful day. If you have any other information that we can share that maybe we don't know about that you think would be great for our organizations, please feel free to share that in the comments or in your follow-up survey, because we're a community that gives back to one another. So we're happy to be here to help, and we hope you all have a wonderful day.
Great, thank you.
Thank you so much. Bye.